people in the car community are generally pretty open to new technology and new ideas. Racing is about learning. If you don't have the mindset to learn and adapt and do new things, your car will never be faster. When we're talking about targeting automotive enthusiasts, we're really just trying to figure out a way to better connect with each other and with brands and guys and gals who have the same kind of interests. I think that's what Web3 really is.
Good now to everybody watching, tuning in. Thanks. We're stoked to have you here today. I'm really excited to introduce our guest, Taro Koki from KurumaNFT. Taro is the CEO and founder of KurumaNFT, a community that is focused on bringing the benefits and the values of Web3 into the car and automotive community, wherever you may be. So Taro, welcome. I'm thrilled to have you here.
Thanks.
Evan, thank you for co-hosting with me today. I'm very excited to have you here as always.
Yeah, I'm excited to get into the project and learn more about it. I've heard enough about it from you that I'm excited. I'm not like a car nut, but my little brother, he's, into building cars. And I'm really just excited to give people a model for, a non-investor, non-techie,
Absolutely.
like actual real world NFT.
Now, I'm particularly excited to have Taro here today because there's a reason that I'm really into Kuruma. It's not just that I'm excited about cars and a huge car nut. It's the fact that, Evan and I talk about this all the time, with all of the clients that we consult with the people that we talk to, whatever, I'm always trying to break away from the classic tropes of Web3 and the NFT space in particular, because I think there's a lot of ways that, honestly, the methods for promoting projects and for building in this, like all of it is detrimental to the overall evolution of the space. And Kuruma is one of these projects that just from the get-go is like, you know what? We don't give a shit about trying to just be the cookie cutter NFT project. Like, we have a purpose. We are doing exactly what we're set out to do. The whole point was community and actually bringing the community. So, the tools of Web3 can allow communities to interact and get to know each other better and connect with creators and founders. And Taro, you were a big content guy back in the different facets of Web2. Excited to hear you talk about that switch and transition a little bit. But not just for, super car nuts. I've seen great conversations just comparing how cool certain cars look. I mean, you don't have to be a mechanic to enjoy connecting with the people at Kuruma. So, Taro, do you want to kind of give us a little bit of an intro into Kuruma, how you guys got started, and what you guys have been up to?
Well, thanks for the intro. I think I should have you introduce me at every panel I speak in. That was perfect, guys. Thanks for having me on your show here. I'm very honored. Yeah, so I'm Taro Koki, founder, president, and CEO of KurumaNFT. So what we're trying to do is like bridge the gap, like you said, between Web3 and automotive. And I'm also glad that we're allowed to swear on this show as well. I mean,
Fuck yeah.
Take it away.
Exactly.
Take it away.
We really don't give a shit about how things work, like the back end, as long as it works, right? And so we founded this company because we felt like all of the cool things that the possibilities and the opportunities that are being presented here in Web3 haven't really been adopted yet by the automotive community. So I come from a content background. Back in the day, I've been doing automotive content and media for 20 years. My last company was called GT Channel. We started out as a Japanese tuner focused YouTube channel in 2007, and it became a pretty big channel, and that's when YouTube basically came out basically in 2007, and we built it into a network of like-minded creators. So even before there was this thing called creator network and influencer, even the word influencer, we started sort of like gathering automotive channels and starting to work together. Eventually, YouTube offered us a platform that many of these networks use. It's basically in your CMS, and you are allowed to create a multi-channel network. That's their term for it. Many companies have become multi-channel networks, and they've been acquired, and they don't even exist anymore. But we were one of the first like automotive vertical MCNs, and so that I did that for a good uh, 12, 13 years. So that was my Web2 experience. We sold the company in 2019, and I stayed on with the company for about 2 years. Um, the company that acquired us actually owned an AI video analysis company as well. So the whole idea was to combine the creator network and all the data that we have from the YouTube network, merge it with the video analysis tool, and make it a monetizable a property. Um, I left the company in 2019, so it was July of last year, so it's a little bit over a year. Just as I was leaving, Web3 was basically exploding, right? So you guys remember the middle of last year, um, everything from NBA Top Shot to Bored Apes and Beep people,
anything and everything. Yep.
Everything and everything was happening. This is just like going like that. And I was watching this and was like, man, this is pretty cool. How could my experience in the automotive space utilize this NFT? What the heck is this? And so that's why and how we started KurumaNFT in November last year, and we started operating this year. And for at first people were like, "What?" In the automotive industry, we did our first like press release on the day of the LA Auto Show.
One of the things that attracted me that I've enjoyed about getting to know you guys was that you became interested in the space and didn't immediately drop a generative art PFP collection. That you started with other stuff. Because I mean, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Taro, but when we originally met in LA at NFT LA this year, you guys didn't even have the pit pass available for minting.
No.
It hadn't launched yet, right? And there was still some time in between then when we met and when you guys actually started with all that.
Correct.
And I just thought that was cool. Plus the style of the pit pass, which I'll kick over to you. I'll let you get into a little bit and kind of describe how that whole thing works, because you guys have had a myriad of different NFTs kind of come out in these smaller, different kinds of series, different purposes, different reasons for their existence, whatever. I always enjoyed the way that you guys went about it. It wasn't just this mint a collection and then try to figure out like, okay, crap, how now we got to figure out some way to continue to exist with this whole Web3 thing. You guys kind of started at a little bit that was more similar to kind of how Faceless started. We were super interested and we were like, we need to learn as much as we can about this. Let's gather as many people around us as possible and start making videos and live streaming and learning about Web3 and stuff. So I always thought that was really cool.
Yeah, so we always thought of it as a business from day one, right?
You have to.
So,
you have to think about it that way.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it as hey, we're gonna release a bunch of generative NFTs and it'll be cool and we'll sell a lot. Isn't really sustainable. I mean, as a business.
Yep.
So we thought about, okay, how like any business, like what problem are we solving, right? So what is the solution that we are bringing to a problem? That's how we started, and so
that's the question you want to ask, because I mean, so many collections you mint NFT A, and the only thing really that I'm able to tell people is like, this is going to give you more NFTs. This is going to let you just buy this, that, and the other thing. But I don't really have a plan for how I'm going to, which is so unfair to your community, right? Because it kind of puts the burden of continuation and sustainability of the project on them, which is just like, is ridiculous, because these people are here to partake in something. They're not here like to sign up for a job,
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's, they talk about, Web2 and Web3 is different. And I say this all the time too, but, Web3 people are you know, stakeholders of your brand and things like that.
Mm.
But in the end, they are also, you know, customers too that you have to service and take
Yep.
care of, right? As you just can't, like, just because it's Web3 and, you know, we're all a happy community, you can't just throw everything on them and have them be responsible
Exactly.
for whatever you started. So I look at it this way: it's sort of like, you know, you know, Web3 is definitely a evolution of brand and ownership. Between the brands and the community that surrounds it. But it's also like someone's got to take ownership, you know, of the project and
Yep.
strategy. And you know, you're always welcome, you know, to and you should receive feedback and listen to your community, obviously. But you know, I mean, there's you can't have too many cooks in the kitchen, right? It's like
Right.
you
Totally.
know, it has to, you know, you have to have a vision of where you're taking this thing. And you know, so our thing from the very beginning was we're gonna bridge this gap between artists and brands, automotive brands, which we know very well through our past experience, and the community. So how can we help the brands, you know, do cool stuff with their brands and activations and all the things that they're already involved in, and better engage with the audience that, you know, they're our audience too, you know, from GT Channel, and you know, now every brand has a media outlet. They're all on social media, so we have to bring something unique to the table. And I really thought, you know, NFTs could be really something cool to further uh, deepen that engagement and also that relationship between the artists or the brands to
Sure.
their customers. And so the first thing we did was, okay, before we launch anything with the brands, um, let's do something that really will help these early guys that come into the community and embrace this thing, a benefit. So that was our pit pass. Basically, the pit pass is a token, a utility token that allows anyone holding that token to to mint 2 days before everybody else does. So it's basically an, you know, a whitelist access um, to the future releases that we do. So anyone who has a pit pass can, you know, come to, you know, KurumaNFT.com and mint 2 days before it is open to the public. And we're gonna, you know, honor that and keep that promise, because there's limited amounts and numbers of founders pit passes, and we want to give those, you know, early birds the benefit and the perks that they deserve for, you know, seeking us out and finding us and holding these, you know, early uh, pit pass NFTs. And so, you know, we've after the pit pass, we came out with two really cool launch projects. So the first one was with Racer Magazine. Racer Magazine is they've been in publication for 30 years, so it's kind of cool that, you know,
Wow.
a legacy, you know, publication like that. And they started with, obviously, you know, paper magazine, but now they're
Yeah.
digital and they're all over the place now. But
Right.
they are the premier motorsport media outlet here in North America.
And of course, you guys have also mixed with all this. It's not just these collections, but you've focused on the IRL aspects of all of this.
Yeah, yeah.
And you've done more than one event, and you know, you mentioned SEMA. Some we'll get into that. You've been at more than one event. We had the launch party that I was fortunate enough to come out for with
Yeah.
Auto Conduct.
Yeah.
And I think you guys had art. You had some art reveals there of like the Racer magazine previews and stuff there.
Yeah, yeah.
If I remember
So,
correctly.
yeah. So the Racer one is actually that one.
Right.
Nice.
So the NFT actually comes with the 24 by 30 framed canvas. It's pretty legit, very good quality, and
Those are
we
John
ship
Doe, right?
John Doe, yes, and
Yeah.
we ship
Huge-
worldwide. Yeah,
Huge shout out to John Doe. We love them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to John Doe. So even our fans in Australia, you know, they have I think they have a plant in Australia as well,
Mm.
Barcelona, and here in the U.S. as well. So, you know, everyone gets them at the same price, gets them delivered, um, along with their NFT. So when you buy an NFT, that comes with it, and we only do limited
Right.
production of 10 each of the 12 designs. And so that was announced at our launch party in April and at Auto Conduct in downtown LA. And we also revealed the artwork for our second collection with Jon Sibal at the IRL launch party, which Alex, you came.
Yep. For those of you who don't know who Jon Sibal is,
I was just going to say, who's Jon Sibal?
Jon Sibal. I mean, Taro, I'll let you read him in. You obviously know him a lot better than I. I was a fan of Jon Sibal before I knew that Kuruma was going to be working with him. It was really cool. Comic book graphic designer, artist, legendary guy in the Marvel Comics world. Had some of those. I think I actually have some Jon Sibal comics on my nerd shelf.
Wow.
But
yeah, so he recently did Batman. So he's an inker, right? So he's the guy who actually takes like the pencil sketches and he inks them. So he basically finalizes the look and feel. And he's credited on a bunch of books and things like that, and graphic novels. But he also has a second side of his career, which is automotive renderings and design for many of the car brands, and he's designed car parts, like aero parts and things like that for car aftermarket companies.
Wow.
And so he'll do like these beautiful renderings, and they'll make them into posters, and he'll be signing these posters at the SEMA show, and things like that. Just look for him on Instagram. He's got a great Instagram account and a bunch of followers, and a lot of people in the automotive industry know him. And our first, one of the first collections was his interpretation of this Japanese brand called RWB. It's so RWB is a Porsche, mainly a Porsche tuner. And they make these slam Porsches with really, really aggressive aero parts.
Big fenders, big wings.
Big wings. Yeah. And so it's sort of like a international. They have an international following. And the interesting thing about RWB is they're all one of ones.
I had a couple of them at the launch party, which was super cool to see. Parked right outside the Auto Conduct garage. That was super neat.
Yeah, that was John's car. So John's a part of a community of RWB owners. So he kind of got it right away when I talked to him, a while ago. It's like basically we're creating an online version of his community that he has here in Southern California. He knows there's there are different RWB communities all around the world. But it was, he was already looking into NFTs, obviously. But when we brought it up to him, I've known him for a couple of years, but he was really, psyched about working with us and launching his collection. But I say one of one because it's very interesting. The RWB business model is that they will send you. Well, you kind of consult with this one guy. His name is Nakai-san. He's in Japan. He lives in Japan, and you consult with him and you tell him what you want, and he'll basically like dream up a car, and he will send you the parts to the garage that you will be making this thing.
Yeah.
And they can do they can paint it and get it ready for him, prep it for him, but the car is not complete until he flies out and does the installation himself, because he'll set the car up the way he wants to, and then basically it's all complete when he comes and does the whole installation and sets the car up as he sees fit. So it's really job. So every car is a unique car, actually.
That's an incredible. Could you imagine? How do you even get a job like that? My gosh,
there's only one of them.
That's cool as hell.
Yeah.
Okay, so the pieces in this collection, they entitle you to one of these prints, and it seems like that's sort of like the modus operandi is you get the founder's pass, which gives you access to any number of partnerships that are coming, where you might get a physical print, you might get a digital print, you might get an access to an event. You're trying to kind of build out step by step just these different experiences that are paired with the NFT for the holders. Yeah, kind of a something for everybody in the car OOV package.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so, with Racer, you get an actual, print like you see right here. With RWB, you don't. But with Jon right now, we're designing apparel, RWB,
Wow.
NFT apparel that you can buy, and also collect as well. With our new product, which is called Kuruma Cards, think of it as NBA Top Shot for cars, right?
Okay.
The unique thing we're doing is we're working with a bunch of brands to create their Kuruma cards, and we have really we feel like we've kind of bridged that gap of having to collect crypto, like so need of a crypto wallet. All these things we felt were high hurdles
Yeah.
Definitely.
for automotive enthusiasts. So when we're talking about targeting automotive enthusiasts, it's really challenging to have to walk them through the entire process. I
Yeah,
mean,
because a lot of these people are not crypto native.
they're not.
Most of them are not.
Right. Yeah.
99% are not, right? So like even my friends, they'll call me up and say, "Hey, Taro, you're starting something cool, but I have no friggin' idea how to even buy a racer thing. I mean, it's really cool. I want one of those in my house, but what do I have to do? They don't understand. What the heck is
Right.
Solana? What is Phantom?
It's a lot of stuff to do. I mean, you think about someone starting from scratch. It's like, okay, first, what you need to do is make the decision to buy something. And then from there, you need to download this application to get this wallet. Then you need an account with this exchange. And then from that exchange, you need to do your KYC and get verified and basically open a new bank account. Then you have to fund the bank account. And then you make the decision to purchase this digital asset, send it to this wallet, use it to connect to this application, connect it to
Make sure
here.
it's the right one.
It's just like, there's so many steps
Yeah.
to go through before you can even just get to the part where I'm buying the product.
Yeah.
Which just makes it, like you said, it's a lot of hurdles to get over as a salesperson.
Yeah. So how do you overcome it?
Yeah, so we've noticed that 99% of the people that we talk to and reach out to can't get through that maze to come and collect and become a community member unless you're like super savvy and you have some background in NFTs. And who has that kind of time right now, right?
Yeah.
I mean, right? You don't. You want to collect NFTs, you want to get into NFTs, but as Alex just mentioned, I mean, it took you 5 minutes to explain the whole process. I mean, you've lost that person already, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I do it for a living. I don't have the time to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So we felt that was a big problem for us, and not just us, but for all the brands that want to and artists that want to get into NFTs. Like Jon, he has a big Instagram following base, right? He doesn't have the time and the resources to teach his hundreds and thousands of Instagram followers who are his fans to come and buy his NFTs because the gap is so big. We're talking about a huge digital divide here. So,
and those are motivated, let alone unmotivated.
You're right, because you're just a passive follower, right? You might like the guy, but it's a high hurdle. So our solution to that was give them away for free, right? So when you give them away for free, you can eliminate a lot of those things. First of all, you don't need the other person doesn't have to have the consumer doesn't have to have crypto.
Yep.
They also don't even need to have a crypto wallet, right? You can just airdrop it to an account that we create for them. So that's what we've done with Kuruma cards. We're working with the brands. We changed our focus to trying to bring people over and understand what we're doing, to going to them and saying it's so easy that you don't even need to know it's an NFT. These are Kuruma cards, they're digital collectibles. So how it works is you at events. So we go to where the fans are, which are car events. So we'll go to an event. We'll work with a brand. The first brand we worked was Kaido House. So they make these like awesome diecast toys, automotive diecast toys. And where they were selling the die-cast toys, we set up a little flyer poster that has a QR code. You scan the QR code, you go to a not even an app. It's a browser page, a browser app.
Mm.
You put in your phone number and you get an auth code back, and there's a collect button after that. Boom, you have
One click. Wow.
One click, and it takes 30 seconds. Literally takes 30 seconds. We probably distributed 100 of these Kaido House digital collectibles within an hour and a half. And I bet some of them didn't even know that they got their first NFTs. And that was a success. So just last month, we were at the Formula Drift finals at Irwindale Speedway here, and we partnered with Falcon Tires. Falcon Tires. Falcon Tires is a brand of Sumitomo tires, and they're a big player in motorsports and drifting. And what we did was we came out with a collection of 4 of their driver cards, and basically you go to the Falcon Tire rig, and you are able to, so you just kind of scan one of these like QR codes, and then you basically collect. So there's like a big line of people like waiting to get their Kuruma cards, and we got rid of 100 in less than 25 minutes.
Okay, so quick question on how it works. Once I do the authorization, I click to collect, I've got this digital collectible, and you said it's in a wallet that you guys own.
Yes.
Talk about the next steps for like onboarding people to understand it's an NFT, or even if they, let's say they want to sell it.
Yeah.
They probably have to claim the token. They probably have to get their wallet. How do you kind of do those next intermediary steps for somebody who maybe just doesn't want to have the token or interact with the token, but wants, the print or the access? And then also for somebody who really wants the token, somebody like me who wants it in my own wallet. Can you talk about those kind of steps?
Yeah. So it's a custodial wallet, right? So you basically access through your phone number. And actually there's sort of two steps to this.
Okay.
We started out on Solana. We're moving over to Polygon.
Okay.
Just because Polygon is just as fast as Solana, but the transaction speeds are maybe a little bit faster, and the transaction fees are cheaper. So when you're talking about giving out hundreds and thousands of NFTs, you want to choose a chain that has very minimal fees.
Yeah.
For sure.
And also minimal downtime.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So I mean, we've been happy with Solana with what we've been able to do.
Sure.
But when we're talking about scaling, and we are talking about scaling with Kuruma cards, we need a chain that could support that. So we're moving over to Polygon. But the great thing about it is that everyone who has a Kuruma NFT account won't even know the difference. There's some of the NFTs, the Kuruma cards, and the NFTs that we've released earlier will just show up on their account as an NFT, and the new ones that we're doing will just show up just as is. We don't have a send button yet, so whoever is collecting them within the Kuruma NFT account can't send them out yet. So they're just like sitting in your account, and you're starting to collect it. Because this is just step one. We really didn't want to make it any more complicated than what it is. So the after Falcon, we have Hot Rod Magazine. So we're doing 750 drop with them at the SEMA show, and we have something planned for end of the year. And we have another event called Tokyo Auto Salon in Tokyo. We're teaming up with an event with a brand there. Once the collectors collection starts to fill up, they're going to want to trade, right? Naturally, they're going to want to trade because okay, I'm not a fan of this driver, for example, or this car.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe there's I want the Tokyo one because I didn't get to go to Tokyo, and I want to collect that one. So we'll have a send button, so you can designate like any wallet you want, and you send it out to a wallet, and you can list it on OpenSea or wherever you want it, or trade it on Kuruma's beta secondary marketplace.
Wow. I think it's so awesome because what you're doing, as you build this community and you build this awareness, like you said, without even using the word NFT, you're encouraging them to start trading and collecting digital assets, tokenized assets, but you're doing it in a really methodical way so that once everybody is comfortable with that, that's when you introduce something new and then make it just as easy. To send your NFT, click this button.
Right.
That's so smart.
It's that flip, right? Like if you have a cool thing, a cool collectible that you are giving to people, you get a couple really, really unique opportunities when you make that transaction with them. Like Taro, you were telling me about some of the conversations you had in line at the Falcon event. And it's cool because the pressure's off the holder at that point to feel like now I'm scrambling. I need to learn all this and maybe make a decision I'm going to regret because I don't want to miss out. And then that feeling of chasing the FOMO, because we hear that in crypto a lot, right? Like if you are feeling like that, it's time to put it all down and step back and walk away. Don't make an irresponsible decision. And we force people into that with these NFT mints a lot of the time. So if you just give them the NFT and it's like, now go finish the rest of your day, and then here's something that you can start researching and learning about, right? Like the pressure's off. I'm so much more like motivated to actually do proper due diligence and like learn about something.
Yeah. I mean, there's no investment involved, right? So there's no way that you can be scammed because you're getting this for free. The only thing we have is your phone number, right? We're not asking for any money. We're not asking for any, we're not asking for anything. Folks just, go to this page, and then they hit the collect button, and then they get one of these cards, right? And so as a user, it's a lot more digestible. We're not trying to shove tech down people's throats and tell them, okay, you got to get this, there is no you got to do anything. Right. We're just, hey, you're at this event, get this commemorative SEMA NFT that we created with Hot Rod. It's their 75th anniversary, and there's only going to be one 75th anniversary. Go collect it, right? I'd be like, cool.
What is SEMA? As we're getting into this, what is SEMA? Just for the people who
so SEMA is the largest aftermarket event in the world, held at the Las Vegas Convention Center once a year. It stands for Specialty Equipment Market Association. So it is for automotive aftermarket. So you have brands from tire companies. You have the suspension guys. You have the trucks. You have the sports cars. You have the tuner cars. You have hot rods. Like the Chip Foose kind of guys. Every kind of like car tuning or modification or restoration you can think of, it's all there. And
there's
so
a ton of eyes on SEMA and like what gets revealed, what gets announced at SEMA.
Yes.
It's like E3 for video games. It's the same kind of deal.
Exactly. It's CES for electronics. It's Comic-Con for anime. Yep. This is where they go. And it is the biggest show in Las Vegas. So what we're doing at the SEMA show, we're partnering with Hot Rod Magazine and Motor Trend. So Motor Trend owns Hot Rod Magazine.
Little name. Motor Trend, no big deal.
And the SEMA show. The SEMA show and Hot Rod Magazine actually have a history together because the founders are the same people. You guys have probably heard of the Peterson Museum here in Los Angeles. It's a very prestigious automotive museum here in LA. But Mr. Peterson was the guy who started Hot Rod Magazine, and he created the SEMA show. Basically, it's an IRL of Hot Rod Magazine, right? So it is they first started it at Dodger Stadium in 1967 or something like that, the SEMA show. And the Hot Rod Magazine was founded in 1948. January was a premiere issue. And so this year is the 75th anniversary of the brand, and they wanted to do something special at the SEMA show. And we were, it was about the same time we were, doing these Kuruma card collab giveaways, and they saw us and said they were interested in doing dropping a free NFT, Kuruma cards for their 750, fans. So if you go to the SEMA show, you'll be able to register for a Motor Trend Plus account for free, and once you sign up, you're going to get an email with a link to go collect your NFT, your Kuruma cards NFT.
Right.
So first come, first serve. Whoever gets there first, 750 will be gone after 750 people claim it.
I mean, that's going to go quick. If it's a conference of that magnitude, it's going to go quick.
Yeah, it could be, but they're also sharing that link online as well through their social media, and they have like, I don't know, 2 million followers or something like that. So it's going to be, I think it's going to be pretty huge. So you don't actually have to be at the show even to collect these NFTs, which is pretty cool. And 10% of the 750 are rare cards. So there's also that fun to collect. They're randomized, obviously, so you don't know which number you're going to get. They're serialized. You might get number 750. You might get number 1, and that's sort of the fun of collecting these things.
So what's the goal for you then? Like I said, if there's only 750, they've got 2 million followers on socials. They're going to have all these eyes. You're going to be there at the conference. So you're not going to be able to necessarily convert all these people, but you have an opportunity to reach them. So what's your strategy with that? Obviously, it kind of reminds me of Reddit, where they handed out all these digital collectibles just recently to all of their users, but they've only got a very, very small percentage of users that are actually participating in the collection, like the active wallets to available wallets or available accounts ratio. It's very small. And it sounds like that's what's going on here. So can you talk a little about that strategy, and then also what comes next? For all these people who wanted to participate but couldn't, how are you going to capture that interest and then convert it into eyes? I ask you too, because as somebody who's done business for a while, you think about scaling probably in a very interesting and strategic way. And one of the nightmares I see from people who enter the NFT space is that because they're not understanding customer acquisition or scaling, they get thousands of customers overnight that they aren't equipped to handle well.
Yep.
So what's your strategy for bringing those other people in, for capturing that interest and delivering value kind of going forward from, say, this event?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So in this case, our customers are Hot Rod and the SEMA show, right? So their goal is to get as many Motor Trend Plus accounts, registered accounts, as much as possible. So the incentive is to get this NFT, and they'll probably get 750 registrants pretty easily.
Yeah, I'd say.
Yeah, so that goal is accomplished, right? From our standpoint, and the users will get free NFTs, so the users are happy. So I think in this, the small set of registrations and NFT holders, we've satisfied both ends. The brands are happy and the audience is happy. I think we're talking about, okay, so what's next, right? So what's next for the brand? What's next for the set?
Or for people who maybe wanted the NFT but missed out, how do they get involved?
Yes. So we're also talking to various brands about not only just giving them out for free, but releasing a collection for sale, right? And this is both like, when you get a sample for free, you're going to want the next one. So this is a great way for both the brands and the users to get something for free and start, populating their collection on Kuruma cards. And once you have 3 or 4, you're going to be like, man, I want a couple more of these things. And you start hearing about, okay, Kuruma's, dropping this collection with this brand now, and this brand now, and this brand. And sometimes, you can't go to the Tokyo Auto Salon to collect your free NFT. But if we offer something, for sale, for minting, they may want to collect that. So it's just like the first step of
Got it.
to get into introduction to the brand and to the collection process. So we are working with brands, both the ones who want to just give away for free and pay us to do it, and the ones who want to do both. So let's give away a portion of our collection free at this event, Detroit Auto Show, LA Auto Show, or Tokyo Auto Salon, or even like, there's many, concourse events around the world, and many, race events around the world where you have an opportunity of giving them out for free through a QR code using our system, because it's, like I said, 30 seconds is really quick. You don't have to, there's no cumbersome, no hurdle to entry to do this. So we can do that, right? But then you can reach out to those people and say, hey, so-and-so racing brand is offering a limited edition so-and-so driver, so-and-so race car NFT for sale. That might be something that, these automotive fans might be interested to buying and picking up. And that's how I think you grow it slowly, and in a kind of a meaningful way, rather than just like dropping everything all at once, or just dwindling and just offering small collections at a time. So our strategy is work with more brands, get in front of more people through events, and offer additional collections to the. I thought that was my dog. That was your dog. Well, now
yeah,
my
it was
dog.
mine first, then Alex's.
Yeah, so that's sort of the strategy. Give them out for free. The brands in the audience are happy, and sign up more brands and get out to more events. That's our strategy.
I think it's really sound. And I would really like to pick your brain too on if you have recommendations for people who see that, or who are either founders or prospective founders in NFTs. I'd love to know if you have any best practices or tips from your experience in Web3 or in Web2, how to think about building a business that is actually valuable, that is sustainable, generates revenue, and scaling it. Do you have any best practices or worst practices that people can learn from that you can share quick?
Well, like we were talking about earlier, the big difference between Web 2 and Web 3, and I may have shared this with Alex, is with GT Channel, we built our channel has 400,000 followers, and across the network we had millions of subscribers. Actually, the problem with Web 2 audience is that they're very passive and they don't have any ownership in your brand at all, right? So you might be following some YouTuber from when he or she started in front of a webcam a couple of years ago, and now this guy is going to car events and being invited by Pirelli to go to Formula One in Austin, right?
Mm-hmm.
His audience haven't evolved at all. They're still in their grandma's basement watching this guy, from his YouTube channel, right? While he flies around the world. And with Web3, it's a little bit different though, because when you buy into a brand early on, you sort the value of I don't think NFTs are investment opportunities, but I feel like if you buy into a brand early on, your value and your relationship with that brand will grow pretty parallel to how that brand is growing too. You won't be left in the dust like YouTube or Instagram followers, because YouTube and Instagram followers, all they do is contribute. And Meta makes money, Google makes money off of
They don't earn anything.
They don't earn anything. They absolutely don't. You are just feeding the monster more and more.
It's so true, and it's something that frustrates people. I think that they don't even really realize frustrates them as much as it should. Like I was talking to someone not that long ago about the beginnings of YouTube. You talk about growing a big audience and stuff, and I vividly remember creators like Jenna Marbles or Ryan Higa or any of these people who were just, you kind of grew up with them, right? We were all like basically the same age. That's kind of when YouTube was becoming a thing, and these people had like a few subscribers. They were just making these terrible videos, but we love them because it's so personal, and that didn't exist before. Anybody could make a YouTube channel, and whether they were comedians. Ryan Higa was what made him famous. He had like the like quick how-to guides on these like really funny comedy videos, like how to be a ninja, how to be whatever, and they were just hilarious. And then Jenna Marbles is she was also doing just like little skits and all that kind of stuff. There's no way, there's like next to no way for me to tell or prove to anybody that like I've been subscribed to these people who now have 20, 30 million subscribers since they had 500.
Yeah.
But with these, like, I mean, POAP technology, with like all of the different things that these tokens can give to you, like the things that NFTs can give to you, the things that, I mean, just like any tokenized piece of digital property can give you that ownership, that proof, that like, what's the word I want, Evan? Like the credibility as a fan. Like we've used the streaming thing before. Like if I'm a recording artist and person A streams my song on Spotify and person B streams it, those two streams mean the same thing. But person A, that may be like just such a crucial song in their life that just like means so much to them. And person B like had it on because it popped up randomly. Those shouldn't be the same thing to you as the creator, right? And Web3 kind of gives your audience the different tools to be able to.
So it gives you that direct relationship, right? Like it's not the intermediary collecting data without your permission and selling it to marketers. It is Kuruma partnering with a brand you love and building a community of very passionate, engaged collectors, car enthusiasts, and then kind of standing out of the way and letting them commerce together so that instead of having to wonder for Motor Trends, for example, having to wonder who's our most active subscriber, they can look on chain at public data that people are giving their consent for them to see. And for Motor Trends, it's like, wow, I can tell who the 10 most engaged members of the Kuruma community
this person has been snapping up cards and extra cards or whatever.
That's right. I'm going to give them, a free year subscription. Exactly. And alternatively, those people who are subscribing as members of the community, who are contributing in the forum, who are coming to shows, who are buying NFTs, are going to be advertising themselves to a brand and getting a non-extractive kind of value from the whole business model and community. I really think that's the kind of approach that we're going to see brands take. I go to Walmart or Kroger or whatever because it's close and because the groceries are cheap. But in the future, when I'm aligned with a community of people who are like me, brands are going to be like, oh, we want consumers like Evan. Let's give them discounts. Let's court them, whatever. And I will find a better fit for how I spend my money as well as how I spend my time that's just more valuable to me.
It gets to be so much more meaningful.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, it's public, right? So, I mean, we can tell as Kuruma which guys have collected what, and we can reward those guys, sort of as a loyalty program way to think about it. There's just so much you can do, and I think the key here is that we understand our audience so much, so we're not bringing in brands that our audience, doesn't like, right? I mean, it's very important to be very selective of the brands you work with and the type of content that you're providing and sharing with your audience. And especially like you were saying, when you're part of this community, and when you're thinking of yourself as an active member of the community, you don't want us to be introducing you to some brand that's a knockoff brand, for example, or something, just because we got paid by them, right? Because then it's not authentic anymore, and that's not legit, and that would ruin our brand too by doing that. That would be the real sort of a definition of selling out, right? So, but and we intend to be here for a long time and do this the right way, because I really feel like this is where automotive media and community is heading. I mean, we call KurumaNFT the future of car culture, because we're sort of, the first touch point is owning a Kuruma card or a KurumaNFT, but there's just like so much more that we can do with our community and the brands together if we keep at it.
Well, and even like without spending money, for somebody to just come and hang out in that community, if they're a car enthusiast, they're probably hanging out with people who are going to add value to their lives. I'm thinking about, I have a little brother. He's just turned 18, and he is restoring a Datsun 280Z. It was, he bought all the parts. About the Z. And he's a total nut. He's into all of it and would love to be. He lives in a very small town in Michigan, rural Michigan, doesn't have a lot of opportunities to talk to people in real life. who share his passion, who he can learn from, who he can give knowledge to. But I'm thinking if he had the opportunity to be in a community like this, around brands like this, around people like you, he'd just flip his lid. He'd love it.
Yeah,
it's a great way to show people
send
that.
them to our Discord.
Yeah, I'm gonna be like, yo, bro.
That's what I was just gonna say. Like the first, I think, experience I had in their Discord was just like, I had just bought a new car, and none of my friends are big gearheads or super into cars or whatever, so they give me the obligatory like, oh, cool, yeah, nice, but like, I want to talk about it. So I just threw a picture into the Kuruma Discord, and I was like, just brought this home, and immediately 5 or 6 people are like, oh, sick. Which one is like, what's the trim? Did you like, what do you think about this feature? I've always enjoyed this or that or the other thing. Or like, I drive one of these or blah, blah, blah. And you just immediately, you get to fall down the rabbit hole with people who are just like relieved to have found their people somewhere. And you can connect with people all over the world.
Yeah.
And you just get to learn so much more because like, I didn't know a ton about, I talked to Taro about this. Like my knowledge is very like power plant and mechanic focused. And then if there's a specific genre of the car community that I was really into, it's overlanding and off-roading. But I didn't know anything about like the drift world, the formula world, or any of the RWB stuff or any of that. But like you get more opportunities to just like learn new stuff in an area that you're obsessed with.
Yeah.
So you're not even just giving people ownership. It's just like I'm connected with more of my people now, which is just really, you can't put a price on that.
Yeah, that's the goal for sure. To grow this vibrant community of tech savvy and future looking, forward looking car community. But at the same time, we've got guys that are into classic cars, and we did our first drop at the Japanese Classic Car Show, and so they appreciate even hot rod, right? They've been around for 75 years. There's people within the hot rod community that are into tech. Obviously, there are people in the Japanese car community that's into tech and willing to try this out. And Paul Fanner, the president and CEO of Racer Magazine, told me something really interesting once. So, he said racing is about learning, right? Because what you're trying to do is go around the track faster than anybody else there. If you don't have the mindset to learn and adapt and do new things, your car will never be faster, right? And never will be better. So I think people in the car community are generally pretty open to new technology and new ideas, because there's always that feeling that what can I do to make my car better? How do I make my car faster? Right. That has always been the theme of cars, right? Since the beginning of time, right?
Yeah.
We've always wanted to create faster and better cars, right? That's why people go racing. Le Mans, 24 hours of Le Mans is about how many times can you lap that track in 24 hours? The guy who's lapped it the most wins. And in order to do that, you obviously have to have a fast car, but you need a reliable car. What does it take to create a fast and reliable car? It's technology, right? It's always technology. And through racing and these experiences, like a lot of the technology that we see in our cars without even thinking about it comes from racing. Windshield wipers were invented at Le Mans because you have to go around the track 24 hours, and at night it always rains in Le Mans. So they had to figure out a way to, let the drivers see. So windshield wipers were actually an invention, right? And that is new technology. It was innovative at the time. And I think that's what we're doing right now. We're trying to figure out all this, through cars and how to connect NFTs, but we're really just trying to figure out a way to better connect with each other and, with brands and guys and gals who have the same kind of interests. And I think that's what Web3 really is.
Taro, do you have a favorite car in your collection or like that you would like to collect?
Yeah, I have my eyes on a Nissan Skyline GTR.
Yeah, man.
They have an R34 GTR. These were never sold in the U.S. The latest GTR, which is the R35 GTRs, are the ones that we started seeing in the U.S. This was in 2007 or 8, I think. But the GTRs before that never came to the U.S. So there's a law called the 25 out no, how many years? 25-year? Yeah, 25-year rule. Once a car hits 25 years old, you can legally bring it to the US. And the R34 GTR is almost 25 years, so we
And
should be able to get it.
that's the iconic blue, like
Yes.
the one that I'm thinking of is always in like a blue with it's got the tail
It's
fin.
Paul Walker's car from the first Fast and the Furious is the R30.
Yes. Yep. Exactly.
Phew, cool, man.
That's
So
the
it's
one
almost time.
That's the one he drifts and stops, and you see him smiling in the car. That's
iconic. It's so iconic. I mean, I vividly remember watching the first Fast and the Furious for the first time and seeing that car. And just I never seen anything like it. I had just learned like what the term "souped up" meant. And you're like, that's a iconic, legendary vehicle.
So I'm not a car nut, but I love cars for somebody who's like not in the engine kind of thing. And I've always been enamored with Lamborghinis. Like before we got to the crypto space and everyone was about Lambos. And one of the coolest NFT projects I've seen recently, I wanted to know if you'd seen it. I'll put a link in the chat so you can see the video later, is by a conceptual artist called Shlomes, and it was called Car. Did you see this, Taro? So he gets a Lamborghini Huracan. He takes it to an undisclosed desert location, loads it with a bunch of C4, blows it up, and films it. And then he scans the pieces and sells them as NFTs. And I thought it was just first of all, it was such a cool, like ridiculous concept.
I saw that. Yeah.
I mean, but the audacity, I was like, oh my God, I've never gotten to drive one, or I've seen a couple of them in person, heard them, watch people race them or whatever. But to me, that would be one of my when I've made it goals, or if I get around the car people, I'm going to get my brother to get me in. I would love to put myself behind the wheel of a Lamborghini someday and have the ability to do it.
Just don't blow it up.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, blowing a car up, I guess, is a form of art. I would never do that to a nice car.
Yeah.
But it's a form of art, right? I mean, just
a very extreme form.
White piece of paper on the wall, it could be art, if you call it art. But yeah, Lamborghinis are very interesting. They're a brand that's sort of embraced NFTs before anybody else has. They've actually come out with their own NFT projects before anyone else did. And I have a theory about this, and I'll tell you why. So when I was growing up in the 80s and 90s, you guys may have had, I don't know, Alex, you may have a Fast and the Furious poster on your wall or whatever.
One or two. Now had all the Hot Wheels and all the models and all the cars and yep.
So for my generation, it was always the Lamborghini. Lamborghini was the supercar, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why we think that Lamborghini was a supercar is because we had these posters of the Lamborghinis, and a lot of kids had the posters of the Lamborghini Countach on their wall, right? That is an iconic Lamborghini.
Yeah.
And with the amount of time that the kids are spending right now looking at their iPhones right now, this is real estate, right? On your wall, basically. So my kids spend more time looking at their phones than their wall, right? And at the time, the wall was a very highly sought after real estate.
Yeah.
But now the real estate is here.
Yeah.
So I think that by getting early into NFTs, Lamborghini is cultivating and basically replicating what they did with us.
Mm-hmm.
The earlier they get into a medium, the earlier they get into NFTs, the younger their crowd will be. And they are setting themselves up for 20, 10, 15 years from now on. These people that buy their first NFTs of Lamborghinis will be their fans and purchasers, in 20 years later.
Yeah.
I mean, Lamborghini is just it's the pinnacle of success in the crypto world. Like, what is everyone when Lambo is just like the bumper sticker of the NFT community, right? Like, because that's the pinnacle of success in lots of people's minds. Like, you never hear someone talk about, when Ferrari or, when Rolls Royce. It doesn't matter if the sticker price on something is more expensive, like when I guess Andrew Tate's kind of bringing the Bugatti back more into, the limelight a little bit more. But like McLaren, right? Like when I was little, the McLaren, G1 and F1 were just like, that was the pinnacle. That was as expensive as it gets.
Yep.
And it's just funny. It's interesting to me how Lamborghini. It's funny you say that, because Lamborghini.
It is. It's smart.
Sowing the seeds to be an iconic brand in the future.
In the future, yeah, and they're that kind of a brand, right? Because they understand that what they're selling is not a machine. They're selling. They're selling a dream, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as
we all know that our Murcielago is going to be in the shop more often than it's not. But that doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, right? I mean, they're selling a dream, and as a company that is a brand that is selling a dream, they know what is important, and and what is important is cultivating the next generation of fans, right? Because they're not about how many they've sold this quarter. Or the next quarter or next year.
Like, it's a cultural experience.
A lot of the other car companies that are more like, they're bigger and make more money, but Toyota, Honda, Volkswagen, they're not that kind of a company. They have a totally different mindset about their consumers and their brand. But that is my theory on why Lamborghini is getting into NFTs early, and like you said, when Lambo. I mean, it's because they're an iconic brand. They do certain things to keep themselves at that high level.
So I got to follow up, because we're approaching here the end. I want to be mindful of your time, and to follow up on Evan's question, I need you to shit talk a car. Something that you just can't stand. It doesn't have to be a specific model. Maybe it could be a trend. Something that's happened, for example, I'll give you mine. I hate it drives me insane. And I've never seen it before I moved into the south of the United States. The truck, the pickup truck, sitting like this with it slammed in the rear and up. We call it the South Carolina squat. And it drives me insane, and I cannot stand how it looks, because you never see you picture, what am I going to do to a truck? How big of a tire can I fit on this thing?
Yeah, sure.
How high of a lift kit can I fit on this thing? So imagine taking, instead of how tiny of a wheel and tire kit can I put on this thing, and can I lift just the front end like 5 feet?
What could I do to make it so impossible to drive that nobody can help but stare at me?
It drives me nuts. So that's mine. So it could be anything, a model, whatever.
Taro's secretly got 3 trucks like that in his driveway right now.
Yeah,
I know. I just lost a friend because he's like, oh crap.
Did you take a look into my garage? No. You might not like it, but I'm sure the person driving in front of that truck too at night, it must feel like they've got like high beams.
Oh my God.
It's got to
be. A shark's going to swallow you.
That's the one, you flash your brights at them coming at you, and then they turn their brights on, and you're just, oh my
God. So trends, huh? I mean, I'm not really,
or a model. Could be just your least favorite car, something that you wouldn't be caught driving.
I did get one time I did get a Crown Victoria, as a rent-a-car once. And it wasn't a great experience. I didn't.
Okay.
Yeah,
I like it. All right.
I just didn't like it that much. I mean, it was really just bumpy, and it was like driving a sofa. It was like so like soft, and I have to tell you though, that car's a rear-wheel drive, and we were driving through like the woods of Boston, like way out in Massachusetts somewhere, and it was snowing, and I was actually with my pro drifter friend Dai Yoshihara, 2011 Formula Drift champion.
Yep, so there's a name I've heard.
And I was like, Di, can you drift this thing? And you're like, sure. In the snow. That was pretty fun.
Can you drift this thing?
Yeah, that was a wrong question. I shouldn't have asked that because what those professional drift drivers, they've got they've got a loose screw, man, and they feel fine when you're driving, right? And you're sitting in the passenger seat. Your eyes are looking this way, forward.
Yeah.
Front wheel, the front glass. He was looking through the side window because we're so sideways that he's looking front through the side window, and then he's going this way, and then he shifts this way, and he's looking through this way. He wasn't looking, straight out at all. I mean, that's another species of human beings, if there ever was one.
I feel like if you needed, go ahead.
I was just to say, this is one of those things, just to put in perspective, when you think about, the most iconic car movie franchise in history, in Tokyo Drift, that is not really that, like, some of the driving scenes that you see these guys doing in the parking garages and like around these like tight columns where, like front end is basically completely stationary, whole back end is whipping around, like, some of the corners these guys take, like, people can drive like that. Like, that's
not CG. That's not CG.
Yeah.
Those the stunt drivers that did Tokyo
incredible.
Drift, they're all professional drift drivers. I mean, they're you may have heard of like Reese Millen, Tanner Faust, Samuel Hubinet. These guys are all you see them every day in car commercials, the Dodge commercials, Volkswagen, BMW, every car commercial right now, there's drifting going on, right? You see the wheels, the tires like losing traction, and they're, even like the latest Toyota commercial. All these guys are behind the wheels of those cars. And, our I forgot to mention this, but our co-founder is Sung Kang. Alex, you met Sung, but he was the star in Tokyo Drift, and he's one of my co-founders. But he was like saying how incredible it was to just be there and see these guys do their thing. But they filmed that both in LA and Tokyo, so he wasn't at all those scenes, but you got to witness a lot.
Homework for everybody listening. You haven't seen Tokyo Drift, seriously do yourself a favor.
And if you're looking for more content ideas, Taro, I think you just gave yourself the best one, which is Can You Drift This? A series where we take literal couches on wheels and see if in fact it will drift. I would watch that. I would totally watch that.
That's I've pitched that show to so many people. I was like, let's get a professional drifter, put him in a tractor. Put him in a semi, put him in a Zamboni, whatever you want. Put him on anything with wheels on and see if you can drift it, Well,
it's funny because you alluded to it in these commercials, right? Like, I'm watching a commercial for the Dodge Caravan, and in the commercial, it's like somebody's drifting this thing. This is a minivan.
That's one of my goals for my bucket list. I want to take my brother and I want to take my dad. We have a community member who told me his wife is an actor. I'm an actor, first career actor. And she instantly upped her salary, upped her bookability by taking a tactical driving course and just a precision driving course. And they teach you all kinds of stuff. I always thought, once I get some time, I've got some money saved, I want to surprise my dad and my brother and just be like, we're going to driving school and see what they let us play with.
No, you should.
I'll tell you right now. It's awesome. So I took regular driver's ed, like sitting in the high school classroom with the little book, and then whatever. And then I immediately went to the Michigan State Police Driving Academy, and they had a program that you could sign up for that they basically, okay, you just learned defensive driving. It's time to learn aggressive driving. And they have the course, right? So like they flood the blacktop and they're like, okay, you're going to go spin this car out. You just read a book about how to get out of a spin. You're going to do it for real now. Or curbing, like you're falling off a curb. How do you bump the car back up onto the highway at a high speed without, or like quick reaction, your passenger calls out an obstacle and they say left and point to the right. Which one should you probably decide? Like, how are you going to rip the car, and highly recommend it. If you have the opportunity to go on any of those driving courses, it'll change your life.
Yeah, it's great because those driving schools, they teach you to take the car to the limit. So without ever seeing the limit, it's sort of dangerous to be driving car when you don't know when this car or how far you can push this car. I've taken a bunch of, I've done Jim Russell, I've done even like Tim O'Neill's rally school, but it's great because you know the limit of your car, and when you know the limit, and from this point out, you're gonna go, off course or lose control. I think everyone needs to know that, and regular driving, so you're only driving like 20% or 30% of your car's capacity. You need to push it to 100% and learn how far you can go until you lose control of the car.
Gives you a lot more confidence
and
safety.
Yeah. And safety, yeah. And you become a lot more smart about, driving, and it is really, really easy to lose control of your car. A lot of people don't realize this, and people in LA are terrible because we're blessed with great weather. So whenever it rains, people don't understand that you can't drive the same way you were when it's sunny and you're driving on dry pavement. Here, it's terrible because the oil and the sand and the dirt is all just right on the. We don't get rain that often, so the roads are really, really dirty. So when it does rain, you get this sort of
like a little slick coating.
A little slick coat, yeah, exactly. And the roads get really, really slippery. And when you're driving the same way you were when it's dry, there's a lot of you're just asking for a lot of trouble.
Taro, thank you so much for your time. Can you tell us real quick, give folks links where they can find you, where they can find Kuruma, and then remind us again where in real life you're going to be in the months ahead?
Yes. So right now, what is it? It's October 26th. We're recording.
Yeah, people will probably be hearing this in Radio Land sometime around Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Yeah. So we're probably done with we will be done with the hot rod collection. But the best way to follow us is through our social media. KurumaNFT on Twitter. I think it's Kuruma_NFT on Twitter. Instagram, we're on Instagram as well. Our website is KurumaNFT.com. And if you are interested in joining our community, find us on Discord. We are on Discord. We're growing. We've got just a great group of guys there. We have weekly quizzes and trivia and games and things like that. And I share a lot of what we're doing and what's going on Discord first. We try to get everybody involved in what we're doing as early as possible on Discord first. And then you can also find me on Twitter as well. I'm tkoki99. I think if you just do Taro Koki on Twitter, you'll find me.
Okay.
But thanks for the opportunity, guys. This was really fun.
Absolutely, man. It was great to talk, great to get to know you, and I'm excited to get more involved in the future. Thanks so much for joining us on this episode of Rising Up. Hey, before you go, I've got a quick favor. Would you please take a second to leave us a rating and a comment or quick review? Aside from listening, it's the most important thing you can do to help our show, and we really appreciate it. If you want more from our team, be sure to follow us on Twitter at @TheFacelessMany. That's where you'll find the link to our Discord server and all the latest updates. If you'd like to be on our show, if you have questions for our team, or if you're interested in becoming a sponsor, send us an email to hello, that's HALLO @facelesscrypto.com, or get in touch through the contact form at our website. Thanks again for listening to the official podcast of the Financial Revolution. Until next time, rise up.